It's really great to be here. I want to make two quick disclaimers. Number one is I am so privileged to be working at PragerU, but I have not been in the office the last week. I've been traveling and doing speaking tours. But I actually did not tell HR, and I felt a little bad. Maybe they'll be upset with me, and I discovered yesterday that actually my boss and the CEO of PragerU is not only at this conference and is not only sitting in the front row, but she's actually speaking right after me. So Marissa, if anyone gets upset, you know, I'm kosher. The second PTO. The second disclaimer I want to say is it is an absolute honor to be in a room full of people who Tucker Carlson hates the most. I mean, this is just incredible. You know, People often ask me, as someone who gets death threats quite often, do I get bothered by it? And I always say, if people who burn American flags, if people who call for the eradication of Western civilization, if people who want to bring Islamism and communism to the United States, if they hate me, if they don't want me to exist, then that is the greatest affirmation that I'm so obviously doing the right thing. And I hope that you take it. And I hope that you take it, whether you see those threats online or in person, as an affirmation that as people who are bringing the word of God into a society that needs it the most, that you are clearly doing the right thing as well. I will be very brief in my remarks because, again, my boss is speaking right after me, and I don't want to cut into her time. She will fire me. But I want to say this. I did not go to Harvard University to sue Harvard University. Fun fact. I went to Harvard University to study religion, which is actually, this is a good piece of advice. If you truly want to come close to God and study religion, run as far as you can from a divinity school. And in my studies, I came across a fascinating figure in Christian history by the name of Abraham Johann Must. Abraham Johann Must was a pacifist. And during the height of the Vietnam War, Father Must protested outside of the White House. And one night he's protesting, and a reporter comes up to him. And the reporter says, "Father, I don't quite understand. It's 2 a.m. There's no one here. There's no media. There are no demonstrators. It's just you. Nixon has gone to sleep. I don't understand, Father. Why is it that you're protesting the Vietnam War? You're not going to change the world." And Father Must looks at this reporter, and without missing a beat, he says, "I don't think you understand, because I am not doing this to change the world. I am doing this so the world doesn't change me. So the world doesn't change me." I was telling Patricia and Elizabeth last night that post-October 7th, I'm sort of psychoanalyzing myself here, I was somewhat rational. I tried to be objective in the things I was saying. And the farther we've gone from October 7th, I've noticed the more emotional I have become. So things that I previously used to say that didn't bother me, I now get very teary-eyed. So you'll have to excuse me in advance. But the comparisons were made last night to you in the room being the Esthers of our day. And that is certainly true. And in fact, today is a Jewish holiday called Rosh Chodesh, the head of the month, where we actually inaugurate the month of Adar, which is when the story of Purim takes place, when the story of Esther and Mordecai. So this is not a coincidence that we are meeting today. But I think I think another accurate comparison would be the Book of Ruth. In the Book of Ruth, Naomi tells her two daughter-in-laws, Orpah and Ruth, "Your husbands have passed away. There's nothing I can provide for you. Go back home. Go provide for yourselves. It's fine. Leave me alone." And when I see all of you in this room, I'm reminded of Ruth chapter 9, verse 13. Where Ruth tells her mother-in-law, and she says, "Do not urge me to leave you, to turn and not follow you, for wherever you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge, because your people are my people and your God is my God." When American students at Harvard University and Columbia and Penn and Yale and UCLA took down their mezuzahs out of fear of religious discrimination, you put mezuzahs up. When American students tucked in their Star of David necklace or their yarmulke, you tucked out your Star of David necklace. You told American students on college campuses that your fight is our fight. Your struggle is our struggle. Your pursuit of just and peace, that's our pursuit as well. And I can think of no greater representation. I can think of no greater example, no greater comparison than the Book of Ruth to all of you in this room who have refused to leave the Jewish people. And in fact, Naomi even tells Ruth that look how God has treated me. There's nothing I can give to you. Have a better life. And you have insisted that no, I will not leave you. What a remarkable testament to the Christians, to the Catholics in this room, that you have said, in spite of what the Jewish people are going through, we are with you 110% of the way. And I have to apologize, because when Ruth tells that to Naomi, Naomi accepts it. And let's call a spade a spade. The American Jewish community today, we have not done a very good job at recognizing our friends, at recognizing the support, at recognizing those of you in this room who want to help us. And for that, I apologize. One of the most embarrassing aspects of my advocacy is when I go to a conference like this, or when I go to a kufi, or when I meet with the passage students studying in Israel, there aren't a heck of a lot of Jews who've told them thank you. So before I say anything else, let me just say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was just in Israel. Literally, I was just in Israel. I went straight from Israel to Nashville. And irrespective of one's opinions on the state of Israel, irrespective of one's opinions on Bibi Netanyahu, irrespective of one's opinions on the orchestration of the war in Gaza, one cannot help but be moved and to see the fulfillment of God's words when simply walking in the land of Israel. I could not help on my way to Jerusalem 2 days ago but to think of the words from Zechariah 8, chapter 8, verse 4 and 5, where Zechariah says that the streets shall be filled with young people playing and the old watching on their benches. I could not help but be moved, thinking of the words of Ezekiel chapter 36, 24, talking about how the ingathering of the exiles will come into fruition through the land of Israel. I couldn't help when I was volunteering in the Negev, thinking of the words of Isaiah 35, 1, that the deserts will bloom once again. I could not help when I was meeting soldiers, some of whom were injured and recovering in hospitals, but think of the words from Amos 9:15, that so long as God brings the Jewish people back into the land of Israel isn't going anywhere. And that is because God, my God and your God, is not a promise breaker. My God and your God is a promise keeper. My God does not forsake covenants. My God fulfills covenants. And it is impossible to walk the lands of Israel. It is impossible to walk the streets of Jerusalem today and not see the fulfillment of God's words. And recently, without getting into the details, I was on a White House Religious Liberties Commission, and I met a woman who took it upon herself as a recent convert to Catholicism to be the new duly elected pope. And leaving that to one side, I have to tell you what I just told you. Irrespective of one's opinions on the state of Israel, I encourage, as an Orthodox Jew, Christians in America, in particular young Christians in America, there is no excuse, there is no reason why you should not be coming to the land of Israel to worship at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, to baptize at the Jordan River, to walk the Via Dolorosa, to stand at Mount Megiddo and overlook the horizon, to come to Capernaum and Bethlehem and Nazareth, connect with your Bible and connect with your faith. America was founded primarily and predominantly by Christians. We are a stronger nation when more people, especially young people, are tapped into their Christian faith and their Christian identity. We are a stronger country when young people go to church, when young people learn the New Testament and the Old Testament, when young people live a life in accordance with the teachings of Jesus. That will make us a much better and a much stronger country. And that brings me, in the last minute I have, unfortunately, to the state of academia and higher education in the United States today. In the book of Noah, the terminology of the Bible is fascinating, because first God says that the generation of the flood is an evil generation. And because the generation is an evil generation, says God, I regret making them. A few verses later, the terminology shifts. And God says this generation is no longer evil, this generation is now corrupt. And says God, now that this generation is corrupt, I must wipe man off the face of the earth. Why is it that when man is simply evil, God regrets them, but when man is corrupt, God must destroy them? Because evil implies righteousness. When someone does the wrong thing, the implication is we can convince them to do the right thing. A sin is compensated with a good deed. The problem with corruption is it blurs those lines. When something or someone is corrupt, they no longer recognize that the thing, in fact, that they are doing is, in fact, evil, is, in fact, wrong. I do not fear for a society that is evil, but I fear for a society where young people don't actually see why it may be problematic to champion the calls of an intifada, to call for the eradication of Western civilization, to ally themselves with Islamic terrorist organizations that would gladly be the first ones to throw them off of roofs. Because that is not an evil society, that is a corrupt society. And this is a corrupt society that is being led by some of the most allegedly progressive, educated elites of our society, taken from someone who was in the classroom, who was on Harvard's campus on October 7th when 34 student groups took it upon themselves on the night of October 7th to blame Jews for the largest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. That is not evil, that is corruption. And the best antidote, the only antidote, I believe, to this corruption are the people in this room. As leaders, whether it's in business or politics, in faith or in media, we must encourage young people in America to go back and search for the answers and the meaning and the values that have been written 3,000 years ago. One of the greatest problems in our society, certainly since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has been the dearth of role models for young men in our country. We have podcasters, we have influencers, we have those on the Twitterverse who convincingly tell young people that the reason you have troubles in your life, the reason you will never get ahead, the reason you will not find a successful relationship with a woman is because something the Jews, or something the undefined shadowy forces. As conservatives, as people of the book, we believe in the promises of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, where God tells us, choose life, make choices. All human beings are created in the image of God, and we as Jews define that image of God as being created with the ability of discernment. We can make choices in life. Palestinians can make choices. They can advance a better life and a better society for themselves. Young people can do the exact same thing. Do not blame others, but be the best version of you that you can be. And that starts, I believe, in the pews on Sunday morning. It starts on your knees, on your bedside at night. And it starts when young people finally appreciate that America was not merely founded by a compilation of peoples, but it was founded on a compilation of ideas. It was founded on the belief that we are endowed by our Creator, and that we will be a stronger country if we go back to those beliefs and those principles. So I will end by simply saying how I opened, which is as I look into this room, I see those individuals. I see the Ruths and Naomi and Orpahs who have said that I will not forsake you because your fight is my fight. And on behalf of thousands and thousands of young American Jews who felt many, many things since October 7th, who felt angry, who felt sad, who felt scared, there is one thing we never felt, and that was the feeling of being alone. We never once, not for a minute, ever felt alone. Why? Because of all of you. Thank you.